The room felt unusually quiet when Bradley Walsh finally spoke from the heart. Not the loud, joking Bradley everyone knows and loves, not the quick-witted host with a smile always ready, but a man who paused, breathed deeply, and chose honesty over comfort. In that moment, it wasn't about television, fame, or applause. It was about life, vulnerability, and a truth that touched people far beyond the screen. Bradley has always been the kind of presence that feels familiar, almost like family, the type who makes evenings warmer, whose laughter feels shared rather than performed. So when his voice softened and his eyes reflected something deeper, it instantly caught attention. Fans didn't just listen, they leaned in. He spoke about facing a serious health concern, something that forced him to slow down and truly listen to his body for the first time in years. For someone who has spent decades moving non-stop, making others laugh and carrying the energy of every room he enters, stopping wasn't easy. But sometimes life insists, no matter how busy or brave you are. There was no drama in his words, no sensational tone, just honesty. He admitted fear, quiet, human fear, the kind people don't often talk about because it doesn't look good on a poster or fit into a joke. Yet somehow, even in that seriousness, Bradley managed to bring warmth. With a small smile, he joked about how doctors suddenly become the boss of your life, how even someone like him has to follow instructions when told to rest. That gentle humor did what Bradley has always done best. It made the heaviness easier to carry. What touched people most wasn't just the health update, it was the way he spoke about love. Love from family, from friends, from colleagues who checked in more often than he expected. He described quiet moments at home where conversations meant more than ever. Simple things like shared meals, long walks, and laughter that didn't need an audience suddenly felt priceless. He admitted that for years he measured success by packed schedules and full calendars. Now success felt different. It looked like peace. It sounded like laughter without cameras. It felt like waking up grateful instead of rushed. Fans around the world responded instantly. Messages poured in, not out of pity, but connection. People saw themselves in his story. Parents who never stop working, performers who never slow down, ordinary people who push through discomfort, promising themselves they'll rest later. Bradley's honesty reminded everyone that later isn't guaranteed, but now is. And yet, this wasn't a sad story, far from it. There was romance in the way he spoke about life, about falling back in love with small moments, the way morning light hits the kitchen, the comfort of holding someone's hand without saying a word, the beauty of being present instead of perfect. He laughed about how slowing down made him notice things he'd ignored for years, including how terrible he is at doing nothing. "I tried resting," he joked, "but apparently I'm bad at it." That line alone made fans smile through tears. What made this moment powerful wasn't fear, it was courage. The courage to speak openly without pretending everything is fine. The courage to be soft in a world that expects strength. The courage to remind others that taking care of yourself isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Bradley didn't position himself as a victim, he positioned himself as a learner, someone who listened when life whispered instead of waiting for it to shout, someone who understood that health isn't just about the body, it's about joy, balance, and love. He encouraged people gently, not with warnings or pressure, but with care. He reminded viewers to check in with themselves, to notice when exhaustion becomes normal, to choose rest without guilt. And somehow it didn't feel like advice. It felt like a friend talking late at night, sharing something real. There was even excitement in his tone, excitement about the future, about projects still to come, laughs still to be shared, stories still to be told. He made it clear this chapter wasn't an ending, it was a reset, a turning point filled with hope. That's what made fans breathe easier.
The reaction online proved just how deeply Bradley is loved. Fans didn't just comment, they thanked him for honesty, thanked him for courage, thanked him for reminding them that even the strongest, funniest people have quiet battles, and that's okay. In a world filled with noise, this moment stood out because it was sincere. No shock value, no exaggeration, just a human being choosing truth. And maybe that's why it felt so romantic in its own way. Romance isn't always flowers and music. Sometimes it's choosing life. Sometimes it's falling in love with your own well-being again. Sometimes it's laughing at yourself while learning something important. Bradley Walsh didn't just share a health update, he shared a reminder to slow down, to love harder, to laugh often, to listen to your body and your heart before they demand attention. As the conversation ended, there was no dramatic goodbye, just gratitude. Gratitude for support, gratitude for perspective, gratitude for another chance to do things a little differently. And maybe that's why this story stays with people, not because it was heartbreaking, but because it was healing. If this message moved you, let it be more than just a moment. Let it be a reason to check in on yourself, to reach out to someone you love, or to smile a little wider today. Life is fragile, yes, but it's also incredibly beautiful when we choose to really live it. And sometimes the most powerful stories aren't about breaking down. They're about quietly standing back up with a softer heart and a stronger sense of what truly matters.